Minister, you're welcome into the channel this afternoon. I'm disappointed not to see Minister Donnelly in here this afternoon. Really, at this stage, no one needs the background to this. This debacle has been ongoing since the start of the year and has been raised multiple times in both houses. I spoke on it at Order of Business back in June and then again in September, when we realised that the HSE's corporate pharmaceutical unit had held no meetings with Vertex Pharmaceuticals over the summer recess, with the last meeting held on July the 4th. The two parties did meet again on Friday the 16th of September, and a spokesperson for Vertex has informed me that the HSE has made no explicit movement away from their current position that Vertex will need to submit a full health technology assessment, a HTA dossier, to the National Centre for Pharmacoeconomics for this patient population. Campaigners for these children have repeatedly called for the red tape not to be wrapped around Kaftrio, as this is guaranteed to lead to decisions being postponed and access delayed to this life-saving and life-changing drug therapy. Minister, why is the HSE CPO insisting that Kaftrio, which is already being administered to children and adults alike in Ireland and to children in other countries with a specific gene mutation found in these 35 children, undergo a full HTA prior to reaching a pricing agreement? Vertex remains that they have put forward several solutions that would allow rapid access for these 35 children, and the HSE remains set on the submission of a HTA, while Vertex remains committed to finding a quick solution for access for the 35 children currently impacted. Now, all of this is from Vertex side, of course, but only because we've heard so little from the HSE, which is not unusual. We've heard so little for them that I had to submit a Freedom of Information request to try and see what was being said. They told me it would cost me at least €700 to fulfil it. I'm still trying to see what information we can get, if any. So, Minister, would you care to update the House, but most importantly the families of the 35 children, as to what progress the HSE is seeking to make in their negotiations with Vertex beyond do what we say? To my knowledge, to date, neither the Minister nor the representatives of the HSE CPU have met with Cystic Fibrosis Ireland, who are leading the campaign to secure this medication. Vertex, however, met with them at the European CF conference in Rotterdam on June the 10th. From where we're standing, Minister, the efforts to resolve this pricing dispute seems very one-sided. Perhaps there's something in your speech today that can set the record straight. So if so, I look forward to hearing you and to hear what the Minister's got to say.
Thank you, Senator Keogan. Minister, again, you're welcome, and you have 4 minutes to respond.
Thank you, and I want to thank you, Senator Keogan, for raising this issue. And cystic fibrosis is a devastating disease for patients and their families, and with Ireland having one of the highest per capita rates of cystic fibrosis in the world, many will have been affected by the sadness it can cause for families. And access to effective treatment offers hope to those suffering from this disease, and I think the aim to make this possible for every patient who needs it. Kaftrio has been a life-changing drug for cystic fibrosis sufferers, and access to drugs like this what we expected when the HSE signed their agreement with its manufacturers, Vertex, in 2017. The deal stipulated that our patients would have access to Vertex's whole portfolio of cystic fibrosis drugs for a capped yearly cost. We made a 10-year commitment which has already seen us pay hundreds of millions of euros to Vertex. We entered this agreement in good faith, expecting that as new licences were approved for the medicines, the HSE would receive access at no additional cost. This has been the case previously when new indications were licensed. The agreement was amended in 2019 and 2020 to include these patient groups at no additional cost. However, for this particular subtype, affecting a small group of children, Vertex are requesting additional funds to provide access. The HSE have statutory responsibility for the community drug schemes. They have structures in place to ensure that our health service is able to provide the right care sustainably. Their corporate pharmaceutical unit has engaged extensively with Vertex, holding 10 meetings. to try to see this patient group included in our pre-existing agreement. Considering the significant budgetary impact of the additional resources Vertex are requesting, they must engage with the pricing and reimbursement process that all other medicines are required to undergo. The HSE continue to engage proactively with Vertex, meeting as recently as the 16th of September, hoping to better understand why the company has chosen to take this position. The Government is committed to providing access to innovative new medicines for Irish patients, and Budget 21 and 22 saw 80 million of funding dedicated to new medicines. 19 new medicines or expanded use of existing medicines were made available by this funding. 21 of these were for treatment of rare diseases. I thank Cystic Fibrosis for their efforts in bringing attention to this situation, and their event outside the Dáil earlier this month helped to raise awareness among the public and my colleagues in the Oireachtas. The dedication of their members is admirable, and we share the common goal of making this drug available to the children who need it, and the Minister is eager to gain their insight on possible routes to a solution. To that end, the Minister's office has been in contact with them to arrange a meeting in the coming weeks, and he looks forward to hearing their ideas and making progress on this issue. And as you said, Senator Keogan outlined it, that access to these 35 children has been denied and to their families. And I hope that through all the various stakeholders, through the Minister's office and through maybe Cystic Fibrosis Ireland and indeed the pharmaceutical companies and maybe yourself, that we can get a resolution to this very, very difficult and complex situation.
Thank you very much, Minister Feehan. I now call on Senator Keogan. 1 minute to respond.
Well, Senator or Deputy Minister, I beg your pardon. Someone's telling lies here, because I believe that Vertex have agreed a price with the department to the original pricing that was given in 2019. And your department are saying totally that. That's why I asked for an FOI on this. I wanted to see the correspondence. So Vertex have told me, the pharmaceutical company have told me, that they have tried to negotiate with your department, with the Department of Health on this. And they gave the solution. They've given many, many pricing options. And they went back to the original agreement that was made. So this is nothing. This is rubbish. You've left 35 children without this drug that is vital to their care. It is a matter of life or death. I know how important it is because I've seen many, many young, particularly girls, young girls that die from cystic fibrosis very early in life. And you're prepared to gamble with their lives and say, oh, sorry, we're just going to, we need you to put in an assessment now. It's not good enough, Minister. It's certainly not good enough for those families.
Thank you, Senator.
And you cannot gamble with those children's lives.
Senator, I think it is worth pointing out in terms of being impartial. The Minister's coming to the table here in good faith. He's well able to speak for himself. But, I mean, it's a word that we don't use in the chamber, really, but people telling lies. And I just think... No,
I said somebody is telling lies.
That's fair enough.
I said somebody is telling... I said, Chair, I did say somebody is telling lies. Because I have been...
Yeah,
I have been...
OK, you've made the point, and
yes,
I accept that.
Absolutely, but somebody is telling lies here.
OK.
This obviously is not correct from the information that I have been receiving from
Senator,
Vertex, the pharmaceutical company.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I'm just conscious of the fact it's important to protect all sides in the House.
Absolutely.
And the Minister has come to the House in good faith. Minister, you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, I fully appreciate the severity of cystic fibrosis and acknowledging the fears and frustrations of the family and affected by the situation, and I acknowledged your bona fides in this very, very difficult situation. And the HSE will continue to engage with Vertex, and I'm hopeful that this situation can be brought to a satisfactory conclusion for everyone. You have said that there is a price agreed with the department. I will bring that back to the department because in my notes here that's come to the department, it says differently, but there obviously is a difference of opinion, and I will try to clarify that as quickly as possible. Again, the HSE has statutory responsibility for medicine pricing and reimbursement decisions as given them in the health price and supply of medical goods. And the HSE is making every effort to fulfil its responsibility and they have said that progress with this issue will require the same effort from Vertex, but you brought some issues and some information to the table, and I'll bring them back to the Department. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.